Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guests of the day, we've got Mark Katina, Mary Gregoire, and Mary Patricia Dorsey. Thank you so much for the support and happy belated birthday to Mary Patricia Dorsey. And yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we really, really do appreciate it. So thank you again. And if you want to be house guest of the day, like this M Squad, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. And if you haven't done it already, check out this week's puppet show. We put a lot of work into these. We hope you guys really enjoy them. And the latest one is the video before this. So if you haven't already checked it out, check it out. Let us know if you enjoyed it. Okay, so when we left off yesterday, Cliff and Tommy were up on the block, but everybody knows that this week it comes down to the veto. So the feeds were down for the Big Brother BB Comics Power Veto competition, and the feeds came back a little bit before 7 p.m. Big Brother time, and we find out that, oh my god, Nicole won the power of veto. What? She is on a freaking roll right now. I think that her double eviction win was just like the boost of confidence that she needed, and now she is peaking at the right time. With this win, it just gives her even more of a chance to win this if she makes it to the final two. So that's freaking crazy. So it sounds like it was like the traditional BB Comics with the zip line and everything, not like last season's, but the ones before that. And Nicole kicked everybody else's asses. Her time was 10:58, and the next closest one was Tommy, and it was 14:21. So it's a good thing for Nicole that she beat Tommy, because if Tommy had won this, she might be going home on Thursday, or to jury, whatever. So then Nicole went to the RV room to celebrate. She's dancing, she's doing her superhero poses. She is in the final four. And now Cliff will be too, because that's her dude. So Cliff joins her and he says, "Do you realize we are in the final four because of you? Not me, it's all you." Oh, they do a little fellowship of the zing. Nice. And Cliff is saying Jackson can't compete in the next HOH. It's gonna be me and you against Holly. And they feel pretty good about their chances going up against her. So they're like, whoa, that would mean, you know, if one of us wins HOH, that person will be guaranteed final three. And then we just need one of us to win the veto, and we're both in there. So where are we at right now? I keep losing my spot in my notes. Ow. So, I mean, they could just vote Holly out, right? That'd be fun too. But we'll get there, believe me. So, Nicole confirms she will be using the power veto on Cliff, because she says, you don't chance your number one. You know, you gotta make sure it's a lock. So, Cliff is like, oh, well that means this will be Holly's first time up on the block. Yup. Okay, so then they go to the storage room to do their final four celebratory dance. And then back in the kitchen, Tommy, Holly, and Jackson are talking about the competition, talking about their comics. So let's go through what the comics were. Obviously, it's going to be different when we actually see them, but we do have an idea pretty much of what most of them were. So Holly's had something to do with wine, like the drink, even though I think it should have been like W-H-I-N-E, because she, oh my god, she's always whining. But they were saying, oh my god, Holly, you look so hot in your comic. She was pretty pleased with it. Chemies, they did not understand. She was the Cheminator, and there may have been something to do with like computers or kicking butt in the future, or like coming back from the future to kick butt. I don't know, but they didn't really understand that one. Jackson, Dr. Jackson, Mr. Hyde. Sis's was something about her being a chicken, because let's be real, what else were they gonna make it? Jess, Model Mayhem. Kat was, I don't know if it would be pronounced Conspiro or Conspiro, but conspiring bitches. There you go. Obi, the Cookie Monster. Cute. Nicole's was Nicolasis from Strong Island. That's so funny. Bella's was Liberty Bella. I guess they didn't really have anything nice to say about her either. I don't know. Tommy, I don't know what his comic was called, but they said he was dressed up as like a 1920s style gangster. Interesting. Nick, they were confused about. Apparently his tagline was something about like the long arm of the law. So they were like, I don't know, did he lie about his job? Is he in law enforcement? Like, what is this? Apparently Big Brother also made fun of his haircut again. Maybe it was their way of bringing no boundaries Nick into it, and like, because he's always like grabbing at people, he's gonna get in trouble with the law. Like, I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know. Yeah. Cliff was the groundhog. Jack was the jackass. Sam had something to do with a truck. And I think they said he was like really freaking buff in his, and he's gonna like it. David, I think his tagline was like, say freeze. Some sort of photography comic. And Christy, I don't know. I feel like I didn't hear them really talk about Christy's, so I don't know what hers was, but I think that's pretty much everybody. So yeah, then Tommy and Holly were alone in the kitchen at one point, and Tommy says, well, 5th place sounds pretty good. He says he did his best. It's all he can do. He says Nicole deserved the win. That's really a game changer for her, and I agree. I think she's got a really great shot at winning if she can make it to the end. So Tommy says, oh my gosh, Holly, you might go on the block if Nicole uses the veto. And Holly says, oh, shit, I will. Damn, I didn't even realize that. Are you serious? Like, how did you not realize that? They said over and over and over that it all comes down to the veto this week. Did she really not do the math and realize that she would be going up as a replacement if Nicole won and took Cliff down? Are you kidding me? So she's like, oh, I was hoping that, you know, that would be my claim to fame, that I didn't go up all season, and I just didn't want to go up on the block. Yo, her and Jackson have been in power for too long. Oh my god. She just automatically assumed that she would be 100% safe this week because her Showmance won HOH. Okay, so then Holly and Jackson were talking in the HOH room, and they're in panic mode right now. Jackson's like, you don't think they're gonna use it on Cliff and backdoor you, do you? Wait a second. Backdoor her? I think he just meant like vote her out, but he kept calling it a backdoor. Okay. So Jackson says, neither one of us vote this week if Nicole uses the veto. Nicole and Cliff could easily split us up if they wanted to. They could pull Tommy in, and then I can't compete in the next HOH, so I have to win the veto. And Holly says, they better not. That would be so shitty. Would it though? Ah! So Jackson says, I don't think they're gonna do it, but it is a possibility. He says we need to foster this and make sure that they don't do it. We need to make sure that they stick to the Final Four deal. And Holly says, I just don't want Nicole to use the veto. Is there any way of convincing her not to? And Jackson's like, I don't know. He's telling her, look, if it was us in that situation, we would obviously use the veto on each other. So Jackson says, if I'm putting myself in their shoes, why would I want to go against Mickey and Holly when I could just go against Tommy? One. He says, I don't think they would do that to us on a personal level, but on a game level, it is the smartest move. He sees that. So Holly's like, I didn't even think about that. I wish I had thought about it before the power veto competition. She says, going into it, I didn't even really want to win. What? Oh my god, she is so, I feel like she's so wrapped up in their Showmance drama and shit that she's like lost sight of the game here a little bit. Yeah, they were in power for too long. They got a little too comfortable up in that HOH room. So Jackson's like, what do you mean you didn't want to win? Holly, there's 5 people left. And Holly says, well, I wouldn't have won anyway. I freaking sucked at that competition. So they want to talk about it with Nicole, but they don't know how to talk about it with Nicole, because they don't want to plant the seed that they're worried that Nicole and Cliff would turn on them, and then that would make them think, oh, would they have turned on us if the tables were turned? So they don't really know how to approach the situation, but they are freaking out. So Jackson's like, all right, I don't want to scare you, but Tommy is going to have 5 days to campaign and be close to Nicole. But we can't freak out. And Holly's just like, do you think they're going to vote me out? Do you think they're going to vote me out? And Jackson's like, I don't think they'll do it. Like, they wouldn't do that to us. So then Holly is like, all right, well, I think you should keep letting Nicole sleep up here for the whole week. Because remember, Jackson was already offering up the HOH room to Nicole, and at first she was like, no. Then she said, okay, fine, for like a night. And then Holly's like, no, you need to keep offering it. And then she says, keep offering it even if we're miserable sleeping downstairs. And they're complaining about how the beds downstairs aren't as comfortable and they can't sleep on them. Oh my God, get over yourselves. So Holly's saying we have to be as nice as possible to Nicole. And Jackson says, if I let her sleep up here, it's not going to be because I'm trying to get something out of her. Okay. I mean, at first, no, it wasn't, but now I'm sure that's part of it. So Holly continues to whine about how she doesn't want to go up on the block. Tough shit. Okay, so then Cliff and Nicole are chatting in the RV room, and Cliff cannot stop talking about how big this win was. He's telling Nicole, you have guaranteed that at least one of us is going to make it to the final 3. You know, there's no way that both of them could be evicted before that now. So at least one of them will make it to the final 3. So then Nicole is like, I was kind of wondering, maybe we should think about breaking up the Showmance and evicting Holly. She's not really like set yet. She says, Tommy is a stronger competitor though, so maybe it does make more sense to get rid of him this week. Cliff says, we've seen that Holly does not do well in mental comps, so it probably would be better for us to keep her, and we'll just stick with our plan to go to the final 4 with Jackson and Holly. So they plan on telling Jackson and Holly that yes, Nicole will be using the veto, but they want to say there's no funny business going on here. There's nothing they have to worry about. So then Nicole brings it back to, you know, scenarios. You can tell she's interested in exploring this more, and Cliff is more like, no, we need to get rid of Tommy. So Nicole's trying to map out next week, and she says, if Tommy stays, I'd like to think that he would target Jackson. Like, if he won the veto, she's hoping he would vote out Jackson, but there's no way of actually knowing that for sure. So she's like, I guess it probably is better to keep the weaker competitor of the 2, which would be Holly. So Cliff is like, you know what, if it was a little bit different, if Holly was the HOH this week and Jackson was the one going up on the block, then yeah, I would definitely consider taking the shot at Jackson. But that's not the situation this week, and Tommy is stronger than Holly. So it seems like as of that time, they plan on sticking with Jackson and Holly. But guys, it's a long 5 days until that eviction on Thursday. So then Jackson joins them, and Nicole says, just so you know, I would like to use the veto on Cliff, but also just so you know, there is no funny business going on here. We are sticking to our plan. So Jackson says, oh, okay, cool, like, it didn't even really cross my mind. Oh my God, stop. So he's telling Nicole, you earned it. Do with it whatever you please. The outcome will still be the same. Tommy's still gonna go. So then Holly joins them. They tell her the same thing. Nicole's gonna use the veto, but they don't have to worry. And they're all like, we're going to the final 4 together, woo! But they don't want to celebrate too much yet because they want to be respectful of Tommy. I guess nobody wants to play Baywatch. So later, Nicole is talking to Tommy in the HOH room. This is where it gets interesting. I believe right before this conversation, Nicole had just come out of the diary room. So she starts talking to Tommy, and she's like, how do you feel, my love? And Tommy says, I feel as good as I can right now. I'm really happy for you that you won. He says he's gonna enjoy every single moment that he has left in the house, and he will be campaigning. He's not gonna disrespect the game by not campaigning. So he says, either way, you know, he's at peace no matter what happens this week. So then Nicole's like, you know what I'm gonna do, right? And he's like, yeah, like use the veto on Cliff. And Nicole says, yeah, and you know what that means, right? Holly's gonna be going up on the block. So she encourages Tommy to campaign, and she says, Tommy, I told you a few days ago that I want you here. I want to move forward with you. And you can tell Nicole's like very excited, which makes me think that this is genuine, and she's not just like saying this to potentially get Tommy's jury vote or something. So she says, I'm gonna try and work some magic because I want you here. So he says, I love that. He gets emotional, they hug, and Nicole says, we need to talk to Cliff, because she did talk to him earlier and he was kind of like, I don't know, Tommy's a big competitor, I don't know. But Nicole is not done with that conversation yet. She wants to explore that some more. So Tommy implies he still wants to target Jackson and go to the final 3 with her and Cliff. Like, that is still on the table. So Nicole says it would be a lot easier this week if Jackson was the one going up on the block and not Holly. But at the same time, she has this opportunity. Why not disarm Jackson and make him easier to beat next week? So Nicole does tell Tommy, yes, there was a Final 4 deal that was made. And as much as she wants to be loyal to that and stick to the deal, she knows that it's not a smart game move for her. So Tommy's like, all right, next week, you don't need me here. Like, obviously you've proven that you can win competitions and you can beat Holly and Jackson. However, it'll be a lot easier for you and Cliff if you have me here, because then it's gonna be 3 against 1 going for that veto, right? So they have way better chances of beating Jackson. So not to mention, like, Tommy is a great physical competitor, and obviously Nicole and Cliff are not like super athletic. So if Tommy could win the veto instead of Jackson, that's a big deal. So Nicole is starting to wonder, what would Jackson or Holly do if the tables were turned? You know? So she says she's almost positive that they would take the shot. Plus, Jackson and Holly are always going to choose each other over anyone else. So then, you know, this is getting good. And then, Jackson walks in and interrupts the conversation. I think they were a little bit startled by that. And I have to wonder if Jackson was pooping his pants when he found them talking to each other. So, okay, later. Nicole talks to Cliff in the RV room. And she's like, I just talked to Tommy before, and he let me know he is going to be campaigning. And she says it's going to be tough because she kind of agrees with what Tommy is saying. She fears keeping Jackson and Holly together in this game. She lets Cliff know Tommy said he would target Jackson if he stays. And Nicole says, look at this. Last week we got to break up one of the duos, and now we have an opportunity to do it again, which means we'll be the last duo standing. So Cliff says, we're gonna have to think about it. You know, he's not closing the door on it yet. So Nicole also brings up, she saw this look that Jackson gave whatever to Tommy when they were waiting for the Power Veto results, and it made her feel really weird. And it made her wonder if Jackson and Holly were planning to take a shot at her and Cliff this week, and they were like hoping that Tommy would win the veto so that Cliff or Nicole would have to go. I don't think that they would have taken the shot at Cliff and Nicole unless they had to and Tommy won the veto, but please go with this, continue, because it's exciting. So Cliff is saying, I don't know, I feel like we would have a better chance of beating Holly in the next HOH than we would Tommy, and that would guarantee at least one of us safety. So, and then one of us would have to win the veto. So Nicole basically says, yeah, but Jackson would have to win the Power Veto to stay. because if Holly goes, he only has one chance to stay. That's him winning the power veto himself. If Holly stays, that's 2 chances for Jackson to stay. So it's either going to be 2 versus 2 in that power veto or 3 versus 1. And yes, Tommy is more likely to beat them in that HOH competition, but the veto is what really matters here. So Tommy would also give them a better chance to make sure that Jackson does not win the power veto. He's going to be a lot tougher competition for them if it is based on athleticism, whatever. So Cliff says, yeah, I'll consider it. He says Tommy would have to swear to both of them that he would take out Jackson if he won the power veto. I'm pretty sure Tommy would be more than happy to do that because he's not going to want to go to the end with Jackson. Come on. So Cliff says, you know, I talked so much about loyalty and honoring agreements, but when it comes down to it, we're this close to the end, you got to do what you got to do to get there. So there's going to be a lot of discussion about this over the next few days, I'm sure. So then Nicole did end up sleeping in the HOH room last night. And she was talking to the cameras, talking through all of the potential scenarios for next week. And she realizes, you know what? If we keep Tommy, even if Jackson wins the power of veto, he might still target Tommy over Cliff and Nicole. So keeping Tommy in the mix is really going to add a lot of uncertainty to what could happen. Like, if Holly stays, and Holly or Jackson win the power veto, then yeah, Cliff or Nicole, one of them will definitely be going. But if Tommy is around, you never know what could happen. They have a little bit more of a chance there. So it seems like, and then of course, like, she was also talking about all the other points that I already mentioned. But it seems like at this point, Nicole's really leaning towards keeping Tommy. So now she's just got to convince Cliff to do it. So we've got 5 days left until the eviction. Power veto ceremony should be tomorrow, and Nicole will be using the veto on Cliff. Holly has to go up in his place because there's no other options. Wake up, Holly! So, what do you think Cliff and Nicole should do? Because there are definitely pros and cons to keeping Holly or keeping Tommy. It's not, like, cut and dry one way or the other. So it seems like Tommy would give them a much better chance to make the final 3, but he might be harder to beat in that final HOH competition to get to the final 2. But you also got to think, what would it mean for jury votes? Like, yeah, Jackson and Holly will be pissed off, but are they going to be bitter, or are they going to vote based on game? Also, if it's Cliff and Nicole in the final 2, they gotta vote for somebody. So I really think that they should break up the Showmance because it's gonna give them a better chance to make it to the final 3. And you gotta focus on that before you get to that final 2. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go too many steps far ahead because you're gonna miss things. So I really think that they should break up the Showmance. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's just not checkers. So until tomorrow, much love.